What's up, YouTube? Welcome or welcome back to the Saving Men's Lives Network, where all men and boys are welcome and our issues are treated with the respect that they deserve, where excellence is our goal, a place to remind you that you are loved, that you do have intrinsic value, and to suggest that you do yourself no harm. Fellas, Thot rapper, if you could even call her that, Erica Banks, who some of you may know through the TikTok craze of the Bust It Challenge, is responsible for the song playing in the background for that phenomenon, if you want to call it that even, that happened earlier this year. For those of you who don't know and don't listen to her music, if you could even call it that, this is the stereotypical archetype of the absolute worst of black women in black culture. Basically a clone of the Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj trend that's going on in music and has been going on for the past 20, I'll go as far back as 30 years with Lil' Kim. But the problem in today's video comes in where people who should know better prove they didn't. She was invited to perform at a pep rally at Atlanta's Fredrick Douglass High School. Now, a lot of prominent people in Black America have come through those gates, and as someone who is from the black community, Fredrick Douglass is a hero of mine. Maybe I'll do a video on him later in terms of his historical significance, but for right now, understand that this person, this Erica Banks, is the type of female who, again, she's a very short shelf life. Music is a very cutthroat industry, and it chews up young women especially and spits them back out once they hit the wall. She would be no different because she doesn't have any actual talent. What she does have is plastic boobs, a plastic booty, and a complete lack of self-discipline, which allows her to throw it around in a circle in front of teenage boys at a pep rally. Now, at some point, a celebrity guest to a high school has to be cleared by the school board, or at the very least by the principal, the vice principal, and the faculty. Someone has had to have listened to her lyrics, which are all completely not kid-friendly, and decided this person, with their menstrual act, belonged in that setting. Now, I could tell you all about the attack on our children. I could tell you all about the degradation of the Western female and how little we as men have to pick from in terms of quality. But I'm going to go a different route on this one. And shout out to YouTube content creator Pink Book Lessons, because she broke it down the way only a woman could. I have to give credit where credit is due. She's one of the few logical, rational, reasonable women that are out there, and she absolutely held Ms. Banks to account. But today, fellas, I want to ask you a hypothetical question. In this case, Erica Banks is in this pep rally, throwing her rear end in a circle in front of a bunch of football players and other athletes and other students. 14, 15, 16, maybe 17-year-old boys, minors, to be sure. Maybe they were a couple of 18-year-old upperclassmen ready to graduate at the end of the school year, perhaps. I wasn't in there, so I can't speak to that part, but I do know this. If that principal who allowed this filth to come and perform in front of those kids had called Usher, who's also an Atlanta native, Ludacris, who's also an Atlanta native, or hell, the Jonas Brothers, the Rolling Stones, whoever, and these men were flapping their sausage in little girls' faces, 14, 15, 16 years old, what would the headline be on the cover of every newspaper in America and around the world? They'd be calling for Mick Jagger to be crucified right there by the flagpole in the front yard of the school. They'd be calling for Usher to be canceled. They'd be on the phone with Ludacris's record label demanding he be dropped immediately. They'd probably call the studios that do the Fast and Furious movies to have him digitally removed from any further digital downloads of the films he's been in. It's no question that if it were a male celebrity doing this, the entire planet would be ready to find him and harm him wherever they could. But you have women all over the internet justifying this behavior. Fellas, shout out to the few people who did have some sense and condemned this behavior. Shout out to the few who understood this was completely out of order. And shame on T.I., Atlanta rapper, who went to this high school years ago and justified her absolutely abhorrent behavior. Shame on him, because this guy has daughters, and I said before, if his daughters were to have any of those male superstars flapping around in front of them, he'd be ready to find them and willing to go back to jail for it. Fellas, we have to be careful. We have to protect our youth, because the lack of shame has led to an absolute downfall of our society. And it's only going to get worse from here, because she's very proud of herself, as witnessed by her Twitter feed. So you know what? Okay, cool. We now know you're garbage. And it's our goal to treat you that way from this point on. And when the record industry spits you out after chewing you up like gum, and your career is over, and folks are remember that chick from back in the day, what was her name? You can die alone in a house full of cats. You can replace your plastic boobs every 10 years until the day you drop dead. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Fellas, take this opportunity, if you don't have one, to get your passport. I'm telling you right now, Western society is crumbling right before our eyes. And for you guys who still want to go out there and date, you may want to seek greener pastures elsewhere. That said, that's my time, fellas. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to Pink Book Lessons. She's doing great content over there. I'll leave a link down to her page down below. Stop by and say hi. Tell her I sent you. Leave a comment down below. And share this video with a man or a boy you think could benefit from what we discuss here. Never let your brother suffer in silence when the truth will set him free. Till next time, fellas. It's the Saving Men's Lives Network. Plenty more to come.